Today, I'll be talking a little bit about the Robinhood app as well as just really some just general opinions and what after hours and pre-market trading actually is. And if you haven't, if you're new to the Robinhood app or whatever, it's basically just a free online brokerage account that originally started in app form, but now as you can see here, it has a web form as well, and it's absolutely free to use, and it's probably my favorite one and the one I use the most. But anyways, Robinhood recently added after hours trading. And what that means is, I can actually go over here. They actually explain it pretty well. But so basically the market's open from 9:30 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. And, if you're on the West Coast, those times are a little bit earlier. If you're in Europe, whatever, those times are a little bit different. I think it would be really hard actually to be on the West Coast to try to trade during the day. But anyways, basically, you cannot trade before 9:30 a.m. and after 4 p.m. You have to trade during hours. But beforehand, if you got Robinhood Gold, you would be able to do this trading just by paying $10 a month or so. But if you didn't have Robinhood Gold, and with a lot of brokerages, if you didn't pay a little bit extra, you weren't able to do trading not in market hours. But Robinhood recently extended the market hours for absolutely free, and beforehand you had to pay $10. And as you can see right here, how they actually extended it, it says from 9 a.m. rather than 9:30, and then till 6 p.m. rather than 4 p.m. So that is pretty normal for other brokerages out there that do extended hours. I think it was a little bit weird that they actually were charging for it beforehand, because kind of one of their philosophies of the app or of the just company overall is to like make everything free and make really democratize, I guess you could say, or whatever, however you want to say it. Really make investing more available to everyone and make a really easy to use brokerage account as well. So I'm not surprised that they did this, but I was surprised that they were charging it beforehand. And these are just two example scenarios of why you would be trading in after hours. And the biggest one, I think, is earning announcements. I think a lot of people try to trade earnings, and really the only way to do that is to either trade before or after hours, because pretty much every company has their earnings, after 4 o'clock or before 9:30 or so. So typically stocks can fluctuate quite a bit due to these earnings reports, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later. And also activity in foreign markets, I don't think that's actually as important to having the ability to trade pre-market and after hours. I really don't think that's a big deal unless you're trading in a lot of, I'm not even sure, European, Asian stocks, which I don't think many of us are, to the extent that you actually need this. But as you can see right here, they also say before today, investing extended hours was one of the features in Robinhood Gold. And so I guess if you had Robinhood Gold and you've bought it for this, you might be a little pissed because now you have been paying for something that everyone got it for free. But a couple things about extended hours trading and just overall what I think about it. I don't actually think it's something that I will probably ever use for a couple of reasons. One, because I don't do any sort of trading in terms of trading based off earnings. I think that is very, very risky because it can go up a lot really quickly, or it can go down a lot really quickly. It is really honestly gambling. Like if you take a look at Apple stock right here, as you can see, they had their earnings report and they went up quite a bit because it was a pretty good earnings report. But there are plenty of stocks out there who have maybe, let's say, decent earnings reports, and they are what you expected, but they did go down quite a bit as well. And, there are stocks like Apple that go up. But I honestly think trying to trade earnings reports can be very, very risky and probably isn't a good idea. And over here, this website, they explain it a little bit better. It's kind of like the same exact thing, but they did go a little bit more into detail about order types. If you were worried about that, or just sort of not necessarily sure how the order types would work pre and after hours trading, they really explain it pretty good right here. But a couple things to note about after hours and pre-market trading. It kind of actually, I think it might actually say this in this disclaimer right here. I wouldn't be surprised if they say it down here. Yeah, disclosure. There's less liquidity in extended hours trading. It means actually they explain it very well. There are fewer people in the market for you to transact with. So that means the price can vary more than it would during regular market hours. So we suggest using limit prices if you want exact price. That is very interesting that they actually put that down here, suggesting suggesting to use a limit price. I wouldn't suggest to do anything, but personally, I would probably not do anything at all. I would probably just simply stay away from trading in those hours. I don't think there's ever been a circumstance ever where I felt as if I needed to trade those hours. I can't really recall any time where a stock went down so significantly. The only time somewhat recently was with Facebook, but it's not like I was going to sell off of them or anything like that. But a couple other things just in general about extended hours trading and just really about the Robinhood app as a whole. One thing about the Robinhood app, I really do think that's a good thing that they are starting to add more features. Like they just added this, they've added options trading, they've added the web platform, they've added Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for quite a few users. I can't actually trade them yet, but that's not because of Robinhood not doing something. It's literally because it's just simply not available in New York State, and they have to like fight a lot of legal battles and stuff like that. Not that I'd necessarily be trading cryptos or anything, but I really do think it's great how much Robinhood has been updating the app, and it really has improved as a platform overall. I mean, it literally went from just being an app to also being on the web, and just adding all these features. Even though this one might be a little bit silly, it might be one that I'm not going to use, I still think it's great, and it really puts a little bit more confidence in me using the Robinhood app all the time, especially when there's an app like M1 Finance that can do very well. But anyways, guys, the really only other things I have to say about extended hours, I mean, unless you're doing like really hardcore trading, I could not see a reason for you to actually use extended hours. Beforehand, when you had to pay for it with gold, I often told people gold is not worth it, because really the only things you get is the possibility to borrow money from Robinhood, and also just being able to trade longer, being able to trade post-market and aftermarket, or pre-market and aftermarket, and I just don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. Trading earnings reports are very, very risky. They have very little upside. Just invest in the stock if you want to invest in it, guys. Don't try to trade earnings. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. I have never traded earnings my entire life. Everyone I know who tries to trade earnings do not do very well, and they just end up going long term. I do not know anyone who has successfully traded earnings on a consistent basis, but I do know a whole lot of people who have successfully, or have failed miserably at trading earnings. So that's really the only reason I could see you wanting or caring about extended hours. But I still think it is nice that they gave that to us. But other than that, guys, that's kind of it for this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, definitely check out my channel. I talk about investing, the stock market, things like that. So if you're interested in anything like that, definitely check out my channel. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video.